See, the cool thing with all the coins was every time I was traveling from country to country at the border, I just took all the loose change that I had and bought the exact amount of diesel in the car. So I got rid of all the fiat check coins at the border to get as much diesel as possible.
That's great. I still got 7,000 Hungarian florins or something, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Like, I'm never going to be able to trade to anyone. No one wants it. It's like, are you going to Budapest? No.
I actually will be going a couple times.
Well,
so.
There we go. We got a possibility that I'll trade for some euros or some pounds or something.
Well, we could do an atomic swap, and that is something that Alex Bosworth is doing. How are you, Alex?
Hi, good. Very good. Yeah, you can't do really an atomic swap with fiat. That's difficult.
Non-atomic swap then.
Yeah. You could do atomic swap with maybe a stable coin, but fiat is always like the weak link.
Yeah. I would like, as soon as you touch fiat, that's when all the crazy stuff happens.
Right.
Just Bitcoin only makes it much easier.
Yeah.
How do you like the conference so far?
It's great. I mean, it's kind of oversubscribed. Like, there's so many people here. Yeah. Got to wait a long line for the lunch.
Oh yes, like both the coffee and the food is just a huge long line.
Right.
And
next year got to be bigger.
Europeans have so much patience. As an American, I look at that line and it's more than 3 people. I'm like, no way. I'm walking down the street. I'm calling delivery. I'm gonna get somebody to buy me coffee. Like, there's just no way I can wait in that line.
Yeah, that's what I just did. I just went and got some fried chicken.
That's the way to go. Because you just got to import it. I had delivery come in. They brought me 3 meals. I'm good for the future now.
And you see, there's also the food for coins. So there is like, it's a delivery service that you can pay for with Lightning, and so you can just buy your food over Lightning.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, in the US we have like Uber Eats, and you can use BitRefill.
Oh,
pretty cool. There's Fold. Fold also sells like Uber cards. It's awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, BitRefill just makes it so easy. Like, I bought so much stuff just for my car on Amazon. Over BitRefill, over Lightning.
On Uber cards, that's a good idea. Get a discount on something you have to buy all the time anyway.
Yeah,
rides.
Uber Eats, and Fold gives you some like sats back.
Wow. Nice.
Perfect.
It's pretty good discount. It's like, it can be like 7%.
Wow. Oh yeah, right. So you buy it on BitRefill with over Lightning, and then you get or how do you?
They give you like a gift code. So and Fold does the same thing. And actually, Fold has it where you just click a link. You just make your Lightning payment, happens instantly. Click a link, your Uber balance goes up.
Nice. You got to do that. Uber keeps ripping me off, though. It doesn't matter. I keep paying.
Useful service.
Yeah, it's unstoppable. And the what's it called? Surge pricing or whatever. If it's 5 a.m. and you want to go to the airport, you're just going to pay it. So that's what generally happens to me.
Yeah.
On the second floor, we have like a showroom of a bunch of different Lightning hacks and awesome projects. What's one of your favorites?
I think it's interesting, this idea that you could have like the full node in your phone. HTC is like trying to get into different avenues of cryptocurrency. And I think it's great if they can get more into Bitcoin, more into Lightning, because like they have potentially a huge audience of like all these people who are buying HTC phones. If they could be making Lightning payments, or if it could be integrated into applications, like that could take things to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, just hardware tailor-made to be really interactive. And most of the Lightning users here, I mean, everyone is paying the invoices with the phone, right? So just Lightning is a very, like, for small payments, very mobile solution. So it would make definitely a lot of sense.
Also, there's like the remote control possibility. Like, I use Zap on my wallet. So I have my full node running. I can call back to it. So I brought like these Zimbabwe dollars to the conference, and I was selling one Zimbabwe dollar for 1/1,000,000th of 1 Satoshi. And I did all the payments on my phone, and every payment worked. So I sold out. Yeah.
1/1,000,000th of a Satoshi.
1/1,000,000th of 1 Satoshi was equal to 1 Zimbabwe dollar in my exchange rate.
Wow. So
that sounds like a very good deal, but right here exclusively, we would like to offer you 1 million marks. This is a billion. This is 1,000 million.
Wow.
Of Deutschmarks. There you are.
Yeah.
And it's appropriately
By
graffitied by Bitcoin. Yeah, cool. Just like it was in the 20s and 30s. That's an original stamp.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's the example of inflation right there. You can tell everyone, you're like, is inflation really bad? A billion marks in a single note.
Don't fuck up the money.
You can buy an egg or maybe a piece of bread. It's going to go very far. Don't spend it all in one place.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, but how do you actually make I mean, you can do millisats, but you can do even lower.
Well, that's true. You can only do millisats, and LND also doesn't support millisats. So I only sold in $20 billion increments. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. You also have a problem on the bill side. They didn't ever make a $1 Zimbabwe bill.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's there was a quote, like in Zimbabwe, a farmer carrying a bunch of the paper bills in a huge trolley. They asked him, "Why don't you just burn the money to heat your house?" It was because goat shit burns better. So even the utility of a paper currency is not there because goat shit is better to burn.
Wow.
So you work at Lightning Labs, right? And
That's right. A little bit over a year, I've been working at Lightning Labs as a Lightning infrastructure lead.
yeah, fantastic. And I mean, how is it to just focus all of your attention on Lightning and building that out?
It's so good. I mean, I love Bitcoin, and it's a real like Bitcoin focused company, and the mission couldn't be bigger. Like to change the world. It's like endlessly fascinating. I've been like part of the Lightning Network since the day one. So like the when mainnet went up, I was there with my node. So like it's been a great journey just this past year and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like you've learned a bunch. I would say, right? Just not just theoretically, but actually from using these tools, cutting edge, pretty much from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like the kind of guy who likes to like really learn from doing. So like I can study the design of Lightning and think about it from a conceptual level, but like I learn a lot just by like I try operating my own routing node. I put up my own Lightning store. Like that really connects me to like what the problems are and like where we're going to improve.
Yeah, exactly. And just many of the, for example, YALTs, just early use case that just worked, and it still works, and it's running pretty smoothly.
Exactly. I mean, people are stacking sats, publishing articles. It's like a marketplace for content.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
Yeah,
like, when
I
did you
haven't had
spin
a
that up?
lot
It
of
was
time
like
to work on it. Yeah,
it was like
so
early 2018, right?
exactly. Oh, I was still working at a company called BitGo, and I was working on Lightning integration at BitGo for like exchanges. So everybody in the industry realizes that like we need another solution than just put everything on the chain, and especially exchanges. Like exchanges are this is a huge cost for them. It's not just fun and games. It's like $100,000 a month. So we need like to be thinking ahead of like how are we going to when the next boom comes, when everybody's trading furiously, how are we going to make that fast, how are we going to make that private, and how are we going to make it cheap.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Lightning kind of solves all three.
Well, we're working on the solution. Yeah. And conceptually, like it has one of the best shots of solving this, and in a way that nobody owns, right? This is a decentralized network. Anybody can participate. Anybody can make their own client.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing about Lightning, right? It's self-hosted. You run your own Lightning node. You can route. You can just pay. You can receive. Many different tasks that you can do, but ultimately nobody can stop you from running the code.
Yeah, that's the most ambitious element of Lightning is like, it would be a lot easier if we just had one central party just like have a SQL database that they're updating, and the real challenge is like how do we make it so that it's more robust, it's more like distributed.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things that you've been tinkering on and thinking about conceptually for a while now is atomic swaps into and out of the Lightning Network. And then that would be the Lightning Labs implementation, loop in and loop out. So could you please give a quick summary of how this works, why it's important?
Yeah. So Submarine Swaps is something that I started working on shortly after I left BitGo. And it wasn't called Submarine Swaps at that time. It was just like me thinking about how to do an integration between the Lightning Network and systems that people are already familiar with, like your regular on-chain wallet. How can we like link those two together? And what a submarine swap does is it's kind of like a simplified version of a payment channel, very, very simplified. And payment channels use this thing called HTLC. And HTLC is a way to lock the payment, lock some Bitcoins to two different conditions. One condition is the payment is successful and a secret is revealed. And the other condition is the secret was never revealed and it just times out. And so you get the money back. So the submarine swap is a on-chain version of this script that normally is off-chain on Lightning, and it's because it's crafted in a way that's similar to Lightning. It's compatible with Lightning, so you can take the Lightning secret and you can use it on-chain with the submarine swap secret.
So basically, right, if you want to, for example, loop in, right, if you want to make a swap into the Lightning Network, then you have an on-chain transaction, an on-chain UTXO, and you send that to a secret, which then later you can also reclaim on the Lightning Network and receive a payment on Lightning. So you only receive the payment on Lightning if you send the payment on chain.
Right, right. It's fully non-custodial. So Lightning Loop is a non-custodial service. Like if you loop in, what's happening is you're paying to an on-chain address, and then if we're bridging the on-chain network to the off-chain network. So your on-chain payment will then be translated by the Lightning Loop service into an off-chain payment. So that's good if you want to just have connectivity to the network, and it's also interesting for liquidity management.
Exactly.
So like, let's say you want to have inbound liquidity in the Lightning Network. By default, when you open up channels with people, you can't request that they commit their capital to you. That's not like something that people can do for free for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you can commit your capital to somebody else. But one thing they will offer with, if you pay a fee, is that they will allow you to move some of the balance over to their side. So if you move some of the balance over to their side, like you're spending some money, well, like you have to have a destination that you're sending the money. So you spend some money through one of your channels, and now in the future you'll be able to receive. But you might not want to spend to anywhere. Like you might not want to buy a bunch of gift cards. You might not want to like buy some stuff on an exchange. So what Lightning Loop allows you to do is you spend some money in our direction, and we send the money back on the chain to you. And we do it in an atomic way. So even if our service were to blow up, you would have the guarantees of the blockchain and that you would get your money back.
Yeah. And so this is on the one hand good, for example, for a user who spends a lot, right? You have on your hardware wallet, right, your on-chain funds, and you send that to this loop-in script to then get money back into your channel, Lightning channel for capacity, so that you can continue spending on Lightning. And then the other way around would be, for example, for merchants who accept a lot of payments over Lightning and then have all the liquidity on their side of the channel, and they can push this channel balance to the Lightning Labs node to then receive on-chain funds into their hardware wallet to pay their service providers or something.
For sure. And in the future, we're going to be adding this multipath payment system. And with multipath payments, what we can do is we can say, let's say that you're a merchant, and at the end of the day, you've got 10 channels and they've all been exhausted. People have just been paying you down. So all of the balance is now on your side. And you need to get ready for the next day. So what you do is all of these channels all at once, you can do a multipath payment send. It sends to the loop server, and the loop server can actually translate that into one on-chain transaction. So you are still saving a lot on chain fees because you've aggregated all the effort of one day, all that maybe of 1 week or 1 month into that one chain transaction. So it's a very low footprint.
Yeah. Wow. And you can even you can do this. Well, you can send the amount specifically for each channel, right? So if one channel has a lot of liquidity on your side and the other one only a little bit, you can send a lot of liquidity through the one channel, a bit less liquidity on the other, and so on.
Exactly.
Because it's atomic multipath, they all only go through together, and it's atomic swap as well. So it's an atomic multi-hop swap.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think this is one of the most exciting use cases. Yeah. And I think, we've been talking about multipath for a long time, and there's different ways to do it, some that are more complicated. And this is a way that is, an entrance to that's an easy entrance it's very achievable in implementations in the very near term. And LND just released 0.8, and it already is starting to change the API from the model of one HTLC, one payment equals one HTLC into one payment equals many HTLCs.
Oh, fantastic. And so these are just a regular loop-ins, loop-outs. Might be atomic multipath, but ultimately it's one UTXO being created on the time chain and on the base layer. Could you then please elaborate how a Hyperloop is different from that?
Yeah, so one thing that exchanges do is they have this ability to drastically reduce their chain fees using this thing called batching. And what batching is doing is it's pulling together lots of different people's withdrawals into one mega transaction. And the reason it's more efficient is they are not putting as much proofs together about the funds. So they can have a big input. They can say, okay, here's this old coin that's big, and I only need to submit one proof to the network that I can spend it. And otherwise, if they do one transaction per withdrawal, every chain transaction has to have its own proof, and that means there's tons of proofs. So batching is like a way to reduce chain fees by potentially like you can get 20%, you can get it up to like 20% of the cost. So 5 times cheaper. So that's almost like having 5 times as much block space.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is though, only exchanges are able to do this because regular people don't have access to this much, that much volume that they can do a send, like an exchange withdrawal send. So what Hyperloop does is it says, well, what if we aggregate? What if we bring a bunch of people together? And what if we batch up all of their desired chain sends into one batch transaction, just like an exchange would do? But we want to do it in a way where everybody can participate. So we're not just going to give away money. We're going to want to be compensated, but we're going to get it. We're going to get the money on the off-chain side. So you're going to pay us off-chain, and then that off-chain money will be relayed through the swap service onto the chain. So you're going to be able to get the benefits of these drastically cheaper on-chain transactions, and any kind of on-chain transaction, like you just want to deposit in an exchange or you want to even create a new channel. And we're going to do it non-custodially. So if something goes wrong, you get your money back. You don't have to trust anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, it is still an atomic swap, right? So either the transaction goes through or it doesn't. There's
Exactly.
no way that the money gets stuck with you and that
Exactly.
you can take the money.
Right.
So that is already fantastic, right? But I would presume that the communication of such a Hyperloop is a lot more complex because, of course, there are maybe 100 users instead of one. So how about the communication? How do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, a Hyperloop, it starts to become like the idea of a submarine swap is that it's a very simple type of a script. And one thing I was thinking about is that this allows you to like link it up with different chains. Like you could do a submarine swap from like liquid sidechain to Lightning. And the simplicity of it like really gives you a lot of flexibility for deploying it as a service. But with Hyperloop, we'll have to get more complicated for sure. Yeah. We'll start to get more into, there's a spectrum. So a submarine swap is like a very simplified version of a Lightning channel, of a Lightning transaction. So we'll start to have to go in that direction of more complicated construction of it. And we also will need to have volume. One thing we're trying to think about how do we make this volume, because we need a bunch of people in a batch in order for the batch to get those aggregation savings. Mm-hmm. So we're thinking about really making it so that your Lightning balance has the added utility of making on-chain payments, and it can do it better. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of challenges technically and from an economic perspective of making that happen.
Yeah, right. And it's a network effect, right? You want to have your many transactions so that it is efficient in batching. And this requires many users wanting to do the swap at roughly the same time, right? And I've seen that with Wasabi Wallet, for example, that does coin joins, which are rather small, in some regards similar, that you have a bunch of users batching their transactions together. And here at the early days, we had maybe 5 peers joining every round. We had 1 or 2 rounds a day, right? Nothing. And now we have every 2 hours, many hundreds of peers joining. So it took us 1.5 years to get at that point. But ultimately, you can build up this liquidity of having rather many of these huge batch transactions regularly on a day. And then all of a sudden, if you know that you can get it much cheaper on-chain swap in 2 hours compared to right now, it might be worth as a user to wait for this extra time in order to just save a lot on fees.
Yeah, I mean, and we also have the flexibility. So if you don't want to wait, you can just pay a higher fee. But exactly. If you do want to wait, exactly, it becomes a lot cheaper, and also there's a privacy benefit because when you're making an on-chain payment, you're really leaving a trail for history forever and ever. Like this is your input and this is your output. But with the Lightning Network, your input is somewhere else. Even we don't know it. So there's privacy benefits. There's scalability benefits, but it does require the volume. So we've released it as an API that other people can integrate. Awesome. So you could even charge for it yourself. Like this is kind of like a services type of a business where we say, we just want to help people like achieve this goal. and we want you to carry it to the end experience, whether it's like you're building a Lightning exchange, you're building a mobile wallet, whatever it is, it will be able for you to integrate it into your own use case.
And I think one thing that you mentioned just a second ago is brilliant, that because of the onion routing of the Lightning Network, you as the service provider receiving the Lightning Network payment, you have no clue which channel sent that money. And it's onion routed. You really don't know. And so this is a great privacy improvement because you don't know the input of the user sending the payment, right? And in that sense, I don't even think that you need to have equal value outputs for this Hyperloop transaction because there is no inputs to link the outputs to. So the coin Sudoku doesn't even work. So, or would you need equal value outputs in the Hyperloop in order to gain even more privacy?
Well, I wouldn't say that like we don't know anything, right? Like, let's say that you, so CoinJoin is still going to have a place, I think.
Sure.
And the reason why it's not 100% private is that we know the value, and we don't know who you are, but we know this value. So like, let's say you posted on Twitter, like, I sent $5 to buy my tickets, and we saw, oh, somebody created a loop out for $5. So you leaked your privacy, and yeah, that's game over. But if you maybe follow good practices, you coin join your coins before you create your channels, it's more possible to have more utility out of using those coin join coins without worrying about compromising them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, very nice, very nice. And then another thing though is that currently we use HTLC for such a service. And HTLCs are committed here on the time chain, right? So you see exactly this is a hash, and later you reveal the pre-image to claim that money, which again also has some privacy trade-offs, right? It's no longer just a pub key and signature. It's actually the hash time lock contract. So what are some ways that we can make this even more private?
Yeah, actually, Hyperloop gets rid of the HTLC on the chain.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, that is a problem that we face, and the reason that we get rid of it is not even privacy, is not even relating to privacy. It's relating to scalability, because
Also.
HTLCs are large,
Yeah.
and we want to have cheaper transactions. So we have an interim, kind of like a channel that is just like a channel doesn't normally put the HTLCs, put every payment on the chain. The Hyperloop, in normal situations when everybody's cooperating, will not put the HTLCs on the chain. We will say, okay, we have this transaction that has these HTLCs, and everybody's committed to this if it does go to chain. But now we're going to move to stage 2. And stage 2 says, okay, now we have this transaction that we know about, but we're going to propose a new transaction that's better for everybody. You all pay lower fees, and everybody signs off on that. And now that transaction that had the HTLCs, it just goes away. We delete that, and we only commit the one without the HTLCs and the right balances to the chain.
Oh, that is actually fantastic. I didn't even know about that. That is really good because, as you say, it increases, of course, scalability, right? The transaction size is drastically reduced. You would imagine like 100 UTXOs, all with the hashes and pre-images. That's a lot of data. You have to pay for that. And also, it's a privacy improvement, right? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, privacy, in this case, privacy and scalability really go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the concept of Lightning. Just reduce metadata on chain. Just remove all that.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that we're like leaking our privacy, even if we had the perfect technology, like that it appeared perfect to us, we'd be still leaving traces on this chain. So an archaeologist could go back to the chain and dig up stuff. So the model that for your normal business, that you're trying to minimize your impact on the global world, you're trying to minimize your footprint, is also maximizing your privacy.
Yeah, exactly. That's very good. So you as a server, what technology do you need to be running? So you need to, of course, have a Bitcoin full node and a Lightning node to receive payments, right? But other than this, it's just regular transaction, right? You receive the payments and you communicate.
Right. I mean, and also just like before, like if you do a loop in, or if you do like a submarine swap from on chain to off chain, you don't even need any Lightning software at all. And in fact, you don't really need any Bitcoin software other than just signing a transaction. I mean, normally, actually, like, I mean, of course, validating is a good idea, Bitcoin validating, but when you're spending, there's no need to validate because you're not receiving anything, so you don't need to check anything. So that's one use case of a submarine swap, is that, let's say I want to make a Lightning transaction, I want to pay somebody, but I want to use some cold funds. I want to use my hardware wallet. Well, if you're not making Lightning payments regularly, you might not have a Lightning wallet, or you might want to use some funds on your cold card or something. So all you have to do is verify that the output address is correct, that the script that we're committing to is fair to me, and then somebody else will take on that burden of making that payment.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, very nice. And so Hyperloop, as we talked about it before, was just for looping out, right? So you pay Lightning and you receive on chain.
The main benefits are looping out, because if you loop in, so looping in means the client or the user, they're making the on-chain payment. And we don't have a technology called cross-input signature aggregation. And because we don't have that, the aggregation benefits are not as severe. Like, everybody is making these chain transactions, and that's all we can't do anything about that. That's just you making an on-chain transaction, presenting your signature. It still has benefits from a Hyperloop, so it will still be included, but it's less dramatic than the loop out benefits.
Oh yeah, right. Because at loop out, Lightning Labs or the server provides the only inputs.
Exactly.
So it might be only one input worth 10 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then 100 outputs worth whatever, how much it is.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than having many individual user inputs.
Well, in order for Hyperloop to be non-custodial, before we have Schnorr Taproot, or before we have some kind of signature aggregation technology, you would still also have to have many signatures. So what it would look like is like a massive multisig. But once we have signature aggregation, not only is it one pass coin, it's also only one signature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And that's also great from a privacy perspective. Instead of the public keys of everybody, instead of the signatures of everybody, we only have one signature, and you have no idea how many people participated.
Yeah, exactly. So the signature aggregation and public key aggregation for Music as a big win, absolutely. And also the adapter signatures with Schnorr, which have pretty much the same concept as HTLCs, but it's not a hash and a pre-image, but it's a public key and a signature.
Right. I mean, we still have to worry about the failed case. What happens if we can't cooperate? We have a coordinator, like we as Lightning Labs are coordinating this, so we can kind of try to discourage people from not cooperating, but that, sometimes things happen. So Schnorr and Taproot are going to help out a lot to kind of fold in those cases. And even just without those, there's lots of things that we can do in script to make it easier, or to reduce the impact of when things go wrong. And we don't even need Schnorr. We've been working on at Lightning Labs a project to do it with ECDSA. There's a wallet called Zengo Wallet, which actually already does this.
Yep.
So you can download that and just deposit your funds already. It's something we will wait for Schnorr, as long as Schnorr comes in a good time frame, which
2 weeks.
Yeah. But I mean, there's plenty of things to do, so there's no huge hurry. And I think Schnorr Taproot seems like it's on track, and it's going to be great. Everybody likes it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the KZN research group, really, they do awesome work, because most of the things that we can do with Schnorr, we can do with ECDSA, which we have in the current protocol. It's just because ECDSA is a hack of Schnorr. Like, everything more advanced with Schnorr is going to be exponentially more hacky with ECDSA. So let's hope to get Schnorr in soon, because that really would make a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. But I don't think there's. I mean, the most important is that the Bitcoin blockchain is consistent and stable.
Exactly.
I don't want any wars.
Exactly. Yeah, fantastic. Well, Alex, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for having me on.
Is there any last words you would like to reach out to the peers? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I have a Twitter account. Try to post once per day. Alex Bosworth on Twitter, and I would definitely try out Lightning Loop. You can just try it out yourself. There's, it's a non-custodial service. And if you're not in Lightning yet, a lot of people aren't in Lightning yet. They haven't tried it out. So I would just try it out. Try out all the services.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Alex really is one of the best Twitter followers. There are not many people that I have that, but for you, I have the notifications on. So every time that you tweet, I get it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's smart. And pretty much every tweet of yours is worth a like or a retweet. So keep up the great knowledge sharing on Twitter, and the awesome building on all the bunch of Lightning Network.
Cool.
Stuff.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Have a nice day.